All right. Please join me in welcoming Tracy Montgomery. She is going to be talking about business that feels like an exhale. So, Tracy Montgomery is a multi-dimensional mentor helping high-achieving women build their life, business, and spirituality entirely on their own terms. I love that. Through energetics, subconscious reprogramming, Akashic records, and intuitive mentorship, Tracy works with spiritually attuned women who are done outsourcing their direction to everyone else's rules, timelines, and frameworks. Known for making the unseen practical and the woo completely unapologetic, she helps her clients access the clarity, alignment, and momentum that comes from leading from the inside out. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Caroline.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to learn with you. And yeah, I'll be in the chat cheering you on.
Okay, thank you. Beautiful. And welcome everyone to this amazing event. I'm sure you've already had an amazing first full day, and there's still a few days left. So there's just so much juiciness and goodness to soak in here. I will start by just giving you a teeny little bit of context about me, just so you kind of know what my landing page is, which is that I was actually an elementary teacher for over 10 years before I dove into the world of spiritual entrepreneurship. And if I'm being completely honest, I had no business background, no experience, not even a university business course under my belt. So this has been a fast track in a lot of things for me when I entered this world. And as long as I was a teacher, I always kind of knew that the universe had other plans for me. And eventually it got to the point where the universe moved me, or rather, it pushed me out of the school system and into the world of spirituality and entrepreneurship. And I went back to school. I did some massage, did some other things. And when the world shut down, I decided to open a brick and mortar because that's what we do. We open brick and mortars when the world shuts down. And I also pivoted online at the same time. And so I started exploring Akashic records, subconscious reprogramming. And a few years later, I released the studio and began working completely online from home because my online business had grown immensely during that time. And so since then, I've been building this business, and it's been almost 10 years now in this entrepreneurial space. And so I want to welcome all of you, first of all, whether you're here live or on the replay, to business that feels like an exhale. And on that note, as I share it with you, I would love to just take a moment to anchor in here with all of you and with all of us as a collective. And so, as long as you're not driving, of course, I would invite you to just allow yourself to soften down just for the next few moments, to close your eyes. You can place one hand on heart, one hand on belly, whatever feels good. But just taking a moment here for us to all just really experience the breath. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and allowing it to travel all the way down to the bottom of the belly. And then exhale, release. And you can do that with an audible sigh and just allow it to come out organically, whether it's loud or soft, whether it's strong, whether it's, quiet, whatever that is for you. And just releasing your day up until this point, especially if you're joining me live, because it's my time, it's 4 p.m. So we're getting close to dinner, and school is over for those of you that have kids and work and all of those things. So just taking a few more breaths here and really letting yourself land and anchor into this space. Giving yourself permission to be fully present. And when those exhales and those sighs out the mouth feel complete, just allowing your breath to return back to its natural rhythm and its pace, and noticing what that exhale really feels like for you. Noticing how it moves in and out of your body. Notice any movement that it creates. Notice the energy of it, the sensation of it. And just giving yourself permission here to notice what you're noticing, knowing that there is no right or wrong way to have this experience. And when that feels complete for you and you feel like you've landed fully here and fully present, you can open your eyes, coming back into this space and just feeling a little bit more anchored in here with me and with everybody that is here on the call, live or on the replay. And I'd love to hear from you. How did you experience your exhale? How did it feel for you? And you can feel free to drop it in the chat, whether you noticed a body sensation, whether you noticed maybe a sense of relief or release, whatever that was for you. I know for me, there's an ease and a groundedness that I often notice when I take those nice, long, slow exhales. Yeah, beautiful release, like sinking down in your body. Beautiful. And, also, if you feel called to share, I'm also curious, out of all of you that are here, how many of you have an online business? How many of you have a brick and mortar business? How many of you have a physical based business? And do you have that same feeling inside of your business? Because I don't know about you and I don't want to make any assumptions, but that ease, that groundedness, that presence, that's what I want my business to feel like. I feel like that's what business is supposed to feel like. Yeah, online only now, online. Yeah, I kind of figured it would be a lot of online, but I wanted to open it all up to share. And I'm also curious, because if you're anything like me, how many of you have spent time, money, energy on learning, whether it's how to create content for your business, learning marketing strategies, funnels, learning how to build your email list, creating opt-ins, learning ads. I mean, truthfully, the list is endless. And if you've spent any time doing that, you can also just drop like a me in the chat as well. I know I've spent, honestly, thousands of dollars on courses, coaches, mentors, learning how to create better content, have better sales systems, all of the things. Yeah, so much investment in learning. Yeah, it can be so overwhelming. Absolutely. Absolutely it can. And I do want to be clear upfront here that it's not my intention in any way, shape, or form to villainize or to demonize strategy and business foundations or social media, because they all have their place and they all work for us as tools. And what I'm hoping, though, that you will take away from today is the awareness and the discernment to know what is meant for you, to know that it is meant for you because it is in full alignment, because it comes from the soul of your business, because you are tapped in and listening to your intuition first rather than as a last resort. That has been one of the biggest keys in building my business. And that's really the conversation that I want to bring forward to all of you today. What I often see with heart-centered entrepreneurs who are being called to create an impact through their soul purpose is that we come to learn this lesson that less is their more. Let me say that again. Less is actually their more. And what I mean by less is less noise, less outside opinions, less strategies that belong to someone else, less I should do this next, less this person is more successful than I am, so I should do it the way that they do it, less assuming that other people know better than we do, less searching for the next magic bullet, right, that will make us more money instantaneously, like an overnight Amazon delivery, right? And less, dare I say, logic leading the way. Because that logic it's of the mind, right? It's not from the space of the heart. It's the ego's way of keeping you safe rather than the soul's way of sharing your gifts, your medicine, your message, your mission with those who you are already meant to impact. And logic absolutely has its place. But I feel like what often happens when we lead from that place is that our business no longer feels like an exhale. It actually feels like we are perpetually holding our breath and we can't quite breathe. It can feel like pressure. It can feel suffocating. It can feel hard and stagnant and like pushing and forcing and the hustle of it all, right? And we start to have these stories that happen where we say, it feels like nothing is working, nothing is moving, everything becomes hard. And the more that we try, the more we put more time in, more energy in, more effort in, more forcing in, more pushing. And that's when our business starts to consume us, even in the moments in our lives when we're not technically in it and we're not actually working. And if that resonates for you on some level or layer, let me know in the chat. And what's really happening is on an energetic level, it's becoming a huge energy leak. It is draining us in such a way that there is no room for our own creativity. There's no room for new ideas to flow to you. There's no room to look at what else is possible. And so what happens is we start to unconsciously shut down pathways of possibilities. And the harder you try, the harder it gets. And the experience that you're now having is the complete opposite of why you desire to start your business in the first place, right? Like if I look back to why I started my business, I didn't start my business for things to be hard. I didn't start it for hustle. Just like the name of the summit, I started it for a freedom, a sense of freedom. And it was freedom built on my terms because everybody's experience of freedom is going to be different. Freedom to me is going to be different than freedom to you, right? And if I'm being honest, even very recently, and this is always so interesting to me because what I've noticed a pattern throughout being an entrepreneur is that I often get schooled in some way on the very thing that I'm about to bring out into the world. So if I'm about to talk about intuition, I start to get schooled on using my intuition. If I'm going to talk about money, I start to get schooled about being money. So of course, I had this experience leading up to this summit as well, all in perfect timing. And so I've been getting schooled recently. And if I'm being fully honest, if I look back at 2025, I absolutely got caught in some of the traps last year where I spent a lot of time and energy and money looking at the more logical linear pieces. So strategies, funnels, content creation, algorithms, social media growth, those types of things. And every time I did that, things would start to feel heavy. And it would start to feel like nothing was working. And I started to have this narrative that was running where I was putting all of this effort in and there was no ROI, there was no return on investment for me that really felt like an energetic or vibrational match. Like they did not sync up, they did not come into equilibrium. And it took me a while to see the bird's eye view of that. Sometimes we can't see what's right in front of us until we take that step back and that step out to really look at the macrocosm of what we've been experiencing, right? And so I'd accidentally found myself in that trap. And once I realized that, I pretty much just stopped everything in my business. I closed all of my long-term programs. I didn't renew anything. And anything that didn't feel good, anything that didn't feel in alignment, anything that I wasn't excited about, I just shut it all down. And let me know if you've ever had that experience too, where it's like, you just start from scratch, right? It's like burn it all to the ground, start from scratch, right? And in that moment, I made an agreement with myself moving forward to only do and offer what felt like a full fuck yes, like a full F yes. And I adopted more of what I call a no and go policy, which essentially meant that when I received a message from my intuition, there was an immediate action in some way. I didn't allow myself to sit with it, to mull it over, to think about it for a few days, to ask for, 10 million signs or one more feather, because that's the ultimate trap of self-sabotage, really, is when we talk ourselves out of the information that our intuition is already giving us, when we start doubting it and we start second guessing what's coming through. And so with the no and go policy, by taking that immediate action, I completely bypass the opportunity to mull things over, to think about it, right? And yeah, a powerful invitation. Absolutely. It's just no and go. And I've had the most wild experience in doing that over the last couple of months. It's been so amazing. And before that happened, though, when I shut everything down, I did feel like there was this period where I was just like waiting, right? And trying to figure it out and forcing the next piece to come through. And as I was sitting in that waiting energy, I felt completely blocked, right? And as soon as I was willing to bring in that no and go policy and allow myself to just be open and curious and allowing for the flow, that's when my intuition would start to take up space. And so I got the first nudge. And with the first nudge, I executed that without knowing what was next. I just pulled the trigger. And it was amazing. And as soon as I did that, and as soon as I put it out into the world, and as soon as I made it real and I chose that, the next piece dropped in. And I did the same thing again, not knowing where I was going, what was going to happen, what was coming next, which I know is so counterintuitive in the business world, because we're taught that we take our clients on a journey and we start at point A and then we take them to point B and then we take them to point C, and we see this, it's sometimes called the ascension ladder, right? Where we move them inside of our business. And even though I was building an ascension piece through each nudge, I never knew what was on the other side of it. But I just kept following the nudges. So the first step led to the second one led to the third. And in order to take that action, I had to be willing to do that without having all of the pieces prepared or planned out. So when I got to the third step, for example, I was pulling the trigger with no sales page, with no system set up, no official sales copy, nothing on my Kajabi platform, none of those things. And I could absolutely have gotten into the story of, it's not ready. There's nothing prepared. There's nothing planned. You can't release this. But the truth was that when I did that, even though I didn't have any of those things in place, nobody actually cared. Nobody cared that I didn't have a pretty, perfect sales page. Nobody cared that, everything wasn't fully prepared and that, it would be ready in 2 weeks. Like, nobody cared at all. And when I did that, I launched the offer and I had over a 60% conversion rate, for those of you that like to do a little bit of math in your business. And that conversion rate had nothing to do with strategies or copy, because there really wasn't any. It was just me, right? But it was because I was following the intuitive the guidance, and I was fully connected to the soul of my business, rather than leading with the logical steps first and having to have everything perfect and everything refined and everything ready. And that's when it all clicked for me. That's when it all really clicked, that my business, it already has the plan, right? Just like our soul also already has the grand plan for us, right? I had to get out of the way long enough to hear it. And as I look at business and I look at the energetics, and one of the things that I do is I tap into things energetically. I read the energetics of it. The old way of business was very much built on all of those structures and all of those systems. And there's nothing wrong with that. And what I feel is the new wave, we could say, of business, the new paradigm of business that is available to all of us, it's multidimensional, which means that there is room for those structures, yes, and there's also a seat at the table for your own intuitive knowing and accessing the soul of your business, which often means that things aren't always going to make sense. Things won't always be linear. 1 + 1 won't always equal 2. That's how quantum leaps happen. Your business has its own blueprint. It has its own divine plan. And the soul of your business already knows who it is meant to work with, what medicine is meant to be brought forward, and when. So that means that you can co-create, you can collaborate with the soul of your business to create the offers, to choose the pricing, to know who the offers are for. And in order to do that, what is required or what is needed is that we move in a different way. We move in a way that is less logical and less linear. And so as you're listening to this, I'm imagining, and you can let me know in the chat, that some of you are thinking, okay, that sounds really good, but how do I do that? Right? How do I know the difference between my intuition and my logic? How do I trust the nudge when I can't see the full picture? How do I make real business decisions that have to do with, strategy or offers or pricing or timing from something that I can't put in a spreadsheet, right? Something that doesn't have a step-by-step plan. And I want to acknowledge something here, which is that trusting yourself over every expert, over any framework, over strategies that are coming to you every day in your inbox it can be one of the most uncomfortable experiences that you might have if it's something that you're not used to doing. It absolutely is a stretch until it becomes second nature. And it's also like anything else, right? If you learn a strategy off the bat, it takes some time for you to perfect the strategy. If you are working on your content, it takes time to make your content better because you learn how to write differently, right? And working with your intuition works exactly the same way. It's simply just practice. And the more that you do it, the easier it becomes and the better that it gets. And sometimes we want to kind of push up against that resistance a bit, especially because I feel like most of us have been conditioned throughout our lives that somebody else knows better. We've been taught to outsource everything and to have the experts tell us what to do, and then we just go ahead and execute that. So this is a different way of thinking. This is a paradigm shift, and that conditioning is something that can be cleared and released. And so when we are working with your intuition, and we're just beginning, because I know there's going to be people, in here that have never done it before. Some of you are familiar. So just to make it very simple, there are two keys to leading with your intuition first. The first key is to know, to understand, and to say yes to the fact that your intuition very rarely hands you the full plan. It gives you more of, I like to call it breadcrumbs. Okay. It's step by step by step. It's kind of like the universe is looking at it going, well, if you're not going to take this breadcrumb, why would I give you 20 more? Right. So it's one piece at a time, one nudge at a time. And what happens is every time you take action on that one nudge, it opens up a different timeline. It opens up a different pathway, and it opens you up to possibilities that weren't there before you said yes to it. And then from that space of possibilities and you taking action on your first intuitive message without needing to know what comes next, the next piece will drop in for you, right? So that's the first key. The second key is knowing how your intuition actually communicates with you. And if that's something that's familiar for you and you already know, please feel free to drop it in the chat, because there's no right or wrong way to receive your intuition. There is, the common psychic senses, which is a different conversation, but those are different ways that your intuition shows up. And so some of that might ring true for you. I know for me, there's many ways that it kind of drops in, and none of them are right or wrong. I often hear my own voice, the intuition that comes in, but I'll also receive at the same time this full body response. And this full body response is like a head to toe type of like shiver or rush of energy, if you will. And I also feel extremely excited. Like it reminds me of being a kid on Christmas morning when I was little. There's this burst, this rush of aliveness. It's like this really, it's like a hit in a way, that I don't get with anything else. And I instantly get lit up in this way. That being said, I also often use a pendulum in a lot of the work that I do. And I also use my body to guide me. So my body is guiding me with one of those keys being the rush. But my body will also tell me when something is a no for me as well, because it'll have a very strong kind of an aversion or a leaning back to that. And so with that said, it's important to know how your intuition works so that you can receive the communication when it's coming through. So I thought it'd be fun today if I just walked you through a really easy, simple tool that you can apply immediately inside of your business, because who doesn't like to walk away with a takeaway? I know I love that. So what I want to show you today is a way that you can get a simple yes or no response from your intuition. And before I show you that, I want to preface that by saying receiving the yes or no is always the easy part. The harder part is always following through on it. And that's the no and go policy, right? The hard part is following through on the yes, or even not doing it because you got the no, but everything in your mind is telling you to go, right? So there's always this really interesting dance that is happening when we bring our intuition into our business. And that will go away the more that you use your intuition in your business. But so what I want to show you today is something that's often referred to as the body sway test. And I'm going to show you seated because I'm here seated, but for some people it does work better standing up. So I would encourage you to try it seated or standing up, whichever, as long as you're not driving right now, obviously. So you can decide. If you're seated, I would invite you to kind of move to the edge of your chair a little bit and to have both of your feet on the floor. And if you're standing, just standing, regular stance with both feet on the floor, just standing up nice and tall. The next thing I'm going to invite you to do is to put one hand on your heart, if that feels good. You can also put one hand on your belly, if that allows you to connect more to your body, and to soften and close the eyes. And just start, just like we began, take one nice big breath in here. Exhale, sigh it out. And just letting yourself drop fully into your body. And if it feels good, if it feels required, you can take another breath like that, breathing in nice and deep. And then exhaling to sigh. And fully releasing. And so begin by doing that as much as you need until you really feel yourself land fully into your body, connected fully to your body. Okay. The next piece is we're going to ask a yes or a no question. That's the only real thing you need to remember about this, is it must be a yes or no question. And so you can speak this out loud or you can speak this to your intuition. And I'll just start by showing you how this works. So the first thing I want to invite you to do is speak out loud or in your mind and repeat after me. Hey, body, show me my yes. Show me my yes. And notice what happens in your body. And then from there, come back to center or to neutral, because I'm guessing your body moved in some way. And now repeating after me again, just say, hey, body, show me my no. Hey, body, show me my no. And so you'll notice most likely that you moved in the opposite direction. So for example, for me, my yes is a falling or moving forward, and my no is a moving back or an aversion and moving away from. And so now you can check this by asking a question that's a yes or no question that you already know the answer to, and allowing your body to respond. So for example, asking the question, hey, body, did we have yogurt for breakfast this morning? Hey, body, did we have yogurt for breakfast this morning? And just notice how that feels. Beautiful. And it's literally that easy. And so I'd love to hear in the chat what you noticed, how that felt for you. I'm hoping that you got your yes and your no. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. I know for me, when I first started, the movement was extremely subtle, as my forward was yes and my back was no. But the more that I do it, the stronger it is. And I also notice the stronger it is when I stand up versus sitting down. So you can play with that as well. Yeah, yes is forward. Sometimes it actually feels like a lifting up. Yeah, there's so many sensations. Like I know too, once I developed this a little bit, I would notice that the yes would feel like my body was expanding. It's like my whole energy field was just growing, and a no would feel like an immediate contraction and getting smaller. So often there is a body movement, but there can be other feelings and sensations too, which are absolutely beautiful. And there's so many ways that you can easily apply this to your business. So I want to share a few of them with you. Your yes is backwards. Yeah. And so is your no forwards then? I'm curious. And some people also, by the way, notice that they turn like a pendulum, they swing clockwise for one of them and counterclockwise for another. That's another really common way. And if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, you can actually program your body as well. So that if you wanted your yes to be a specific thing and your no to be a specific thing, you could actually program that into your energy field too. But so applying this to your business. So for example, in your pricing, it could be things such as, hey, body, is $47 the optimal price for this offer? And you'll get a yes or no. You could ask a question like, will it create more for me to charge $199 for this coaching package? You'll get a yes or no. Your intuition knows what the right move is. It knows what to charge, right? It's not about what the market says or what your coach told you to do. It's about what feels true and aligned for you right now, and also what you have the capacity to receive, right? When we override that with logic, we end up undercharging out of fears or copying someone else's number, or we get stuck in our money blocks and things don't work out for our highest good, right? Same thing for your offers, right? There's going to be ideas that probably keep coming back to you. The thing that you keep talking about or you keep talking yourself out of, those aren't random, right? That's the soul of your business asking you to pay attention and asking, will it create more for me and my business to put this offer out right now? Will it create more to launch this on June 1st? Which of my offers or my programs is on my highest, most optimal timeline right now, right? We can ask those kinds of questions. And we can also look at our timing. We can learn when something is ready to move. And we often know that because we feel it, right? There's a part of us that just knows, that feels it. But often what happens is we wait for the perfect moment instead of trusting that we're ready, or we wait to have all our ducks in a row instead of trusting that we're ready. So we can ask questions like, hey, body, is this the most optimal time to launch this product? Or, hey, body, is 6 weeks the most optimal amount of time for this group experience? So we can play with the questions and receive our yeses and nos instead of having to sit there and contemplate and logicize. Is that a word? Logicize? Use all of our logic to make all of the decisions make sense, right? And what happens as we allow ourselves to normalize this practice in our business is that everything starts to shift. How we relate and respond and collaborate with our business becomes different. Excuse me, just a little bit of water. Oh, goodness, sorry. Okay, my apologies. So, what happens is our relationship with our business starts to shift and change. What that means is that instead of checking with everybody else, we check in with ourselves first, right? Take a moment to just let that really land in your body. What it would be like to be checking in with yourself first and foremost, rather than outsourcing to other people, to other experts, to other frameworks, to other strategies, right? We're no longer scrolling to see what's working for everybody else. We're not in different mentorship spaces or Facebook groups asking for opinions on our next offer or next move. We're not second guessing the price. And we're not changing the price because somebody told us it's too low, somebody told us it's too high, right? We know exactly what our business needs from us on a daily basis. And not because it's perfectly planned, because we're connected to the soul of our business. And when that happens, our offers come through with a clarity that doesn't need to be validated by anybody else. Our pricing feels true instead of terrifying. Our content becomes something real instead of what's the algorithm rewarding this week type of scenario, right? Yes, we're still using strategy. Yes, we're still showing up and we're doing the work, but the work feels different when it's coming from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And so now we have this beautiful co-creation, this collaboration with our business instead of what feels like an uphill climb or a battle. And the decisions that used to take weeks of overthinking and contemplating, the ones where we're asking all the coaches, we're researching all the things, those decisions now take minutes because we know how to access that answer that was actually already there. And that's what becomes available when your intuition is leading inside your business and the strategy is following that. So what it becomes is it becomes soul meeting strategy. Soul meeting strategy. And I wanted to just take you through a quick few minutes to experience what it feels like to connect to the soul of your business. Because I feel like that will really set the stage for you to begin this experience inside of your business to allow you to connect deeper to your intuition. And I have some amazing experiences for you on the other side of this that are going to help you to go deeper as well. So just for the next few moments, once again, let's close the eyes down. Let's become fully present here and just start to connect with the breath. And this should feel so easy, or should, I'll take that back. Sorry, just trying to create that. Allow this to feel easy. You've already done it a few times just inside of the short window of time that we've been here together. And take a nice deep breath in, drawing the breath all the way down to the bottom of the belly. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. Exhale, an audible sigh, and allow it to be soft and easy. Allow your body to start to melt into this beautiful state of relaxation. And notice that with every inhale and exhale that you take here, you're creating a little bit more space. And it's within that space that the pure magic really happens. Allow the breath, if it hasn't already, to return to its natural rhythm or pace. And just watching the breath, notice that as you inhale, the chest will fill first and then the belly. And then as you exhale, the belly will empty first and then the chest. And watching this move as though you're watching waves of an ocean that gently rise and gently fall, gently ebb, gently flow. Just very organically in and out of the body. And we'll take a moment here to just acknowledge anything else that might be sitting top of mind or in your field, anything from your day, anything that might be pulling on your attention. Just take a moment here to acknowledge it. And then moving it over to the side as though you were swiping your finger across the device. We're just moving it over, not because we're ignoring or dismissing it. We're just creating a bit of space, knowing that it'll be there for you to pick up when we finish this, if and when you choose. And then take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, sigh, release it. Just feeling yourself settling in even more, becoming even more present here with your body and with your breath. And begin to call forward the soul of your business, its presence. And notice that it might come forward with a feeling. It might come forward as a color. It might come forward as a energy, a frequency, an emotion, a sensation. And just giving yourself permission to begin to receive the soul of your business here. Knowing that whatever you're experiencing is right and perfect. There's nothing that needs to be shifted or changed. There's nothing that needs to be judged. You already know exactly how to do this. And as you receive the soul of your business, just noticing the texture, the feeling. Notice any shifts in your body. You may even feel as though you're remembering on some level. And just allowing your body to begin to calibrate to this energy, to sync up to this energy so that you can fully receive it and fully connect. And there's nothing else that needs to be done here. We're just beginning with this connection, building this connection, and asking our body and our energy field to remember this connection. Take a nice deep breath in here. Exhale to sigh it out. Beautiful. And then just releasing that ever so gently. Starting to call yourself back. You can wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, coming back into your body. Noticing how you feel now. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes, coming back even more fully into your own space, your own time. Deepening the breath. Coming back even more present. Beautiful. And as you come back, I'd love to hear how that experience was for you. You can share it in the chat. It's just a small glimpse because I wanted to make sure that we stay on time today. A warm pink energy came through. I love that. I love that. So the first step in connecting with the soul of your business is really just practicing being in the energy of your business, or her or him, however you want to refer to that, whatever resonates with you. Nourishing. I love that. Beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful.
Okay, that was so warm. Like it just felt like a hug at the end of the day. So thank you. I
Mm,
needed that for sure.
you're so welcome.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
we'd love to hear about your free gift that you've got for everybody.
Yeah. So the free gift is the soul of your business. And so what it is it's a full guided energetic audio experience, which is it's 24 minutes. So it's going to take you deeper into what we just dipped in together today. It was just a snippet today. And it will begin by clearing your energy field of everybody else's noise and opinions and frameworks. And then it will guide you to fully connect with the soul of your business and to receive what the information it has for you. So it will walk you through 5 powerful questions that will ask you to tap into your own intuition, to receive clarity on your next aligned moves, on your purpose, and where you've been leading from someone else's blueprint instead of your own. So
Mm.
you can come back to as many times as you need. It's completely timeless.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna get that. I love those meditations. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like something I could do every day, every morning, just to like get back into it.
Yeah, it totally is. And I created it with that intention. So you absolutely can use it every day.
Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Yeah.
how about your VIP gift that you've got?
Yeah. So the VIP gift is called Accessing Your Intuition. And this is where you get to go even deeper. So this one is, I think it's a 27-minute audio, and it's an energetic clearing specifically designed to clear the blocks, the unconscious patterns, the oaths, the vows, anything else that may be keeping you disconnected from your own intuition and your own inner knowing. So that, because it's not always about learning how to use your intuition. Sometimes it's about actually clearing what's standing in the way of
Mm.
you even accessing it in the first place and fully trusting it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to access those gifts personally, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the session. I felt really grounding and curious. I loved the exercise where we were actually like feeling the yeses and nos. It's such
Mm-hmm.
a fun and practical, and like we can use that in our business in a really embodied way.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you liked it. Yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
thank you for
Okay,
having me.
you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, I'm going to be